Well, with that said, let's get into our day to day. And we can't wait for this young lady. She's with us all the month of December. Let me describe her to you. She used to be a locksmith. She probably still does a little bit. Her favorite food is what? Anybody know her favorite food? That's right, Jackie Black, the taco. She calls herself the fun size. And her topic is being total committed. She loves having fun. Not only that, but she is a wonderful lady. She hails from Texas area, San Antonio, and she asked Tony Cooper to come down one day and out of nowhere and said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay, I was committed then." So that's called commitment. And she said, "I didn't know how I was going to fill up the place, or how I was going to what room. I didn't know anything. All I knew I had to get him, and the rest fell in place." And she went to work to make it real. That's what I love about people like this, because that they make a commitment and they stick to it and see the job done. Without further ado, a regional director from the San Antonio area, the one and only Miss Roxann Corralejo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I really appreciate you. And of course, my phone starts ringing as soon as I'm introduced. It always happens. Let me try to silence all this stuff. Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. I really hope everyone had a fantastic and amazing weekend. I know I did. I am in Utah, so it has been cold and definitely something I am not used to. But that's all that business is about too, getting out of your comfort zone. And that's what Utah has definitely been for me. So I kind of want to do something where I follow up and we reflect a little bit about what we did over this weekend, how many people we talked to, if we talked to anybody. I know that's a really scary topic to discuss, especially when we're talking about family. And I want to see everybody's faces here. Here we go. When we're in a room with everybody. So when we're talking about commitment, so far these past few weeks, a couple things that I had talked about is one, the definition of commitment. And two, the steps, or what I believe are the four most important steps to be committed. And the last step, what we always forget to do, we always forget the two last steps. One of them is to actually follow through. And the second one is to actually reflect, to go back and look at what we've done and how can we improve it. So I want to talk about this weekend and what everybody did this weekend, if those seeds were planted, because that's what this week is for, to follow up on those seeds. Now, how do we plant those seeds if we're around family? Now, some of us are really scared to bring up ACN. We talk about everything else, but not ACN. Why? Because it's our network marketing company, because everyone has this negative connotation about being recruited. So you're scared to recruit. But I want you to approach this business the way that we've talked about it before and stop thinking about recruiting. We're not talking to people to recruit them. And some of you guys are like, what are you talking about? I want a huge team. I want to recruit everybody. We got to get out of that mindset. And Mr. Trolley says it every single time. And I'm not sure if any of you guys have actually grasped what he's saying, but he says we are informing people. We are sharing with people what we are doing. We, in our minds, have to believe that too. We go through the motions and go through the steps, and maybe it's not working because we haven't convinced ourselves that's what we're doing. Because in the back of our minds, we're still thinking, okay, I want to recruit them. When can I bring this up? When can we recruit them? How can they be a part of my team? But in your mind, you have to consciously think about, no, I'm not doing that. I am informing, I am sharing the services, I am informing, and I am sharing the opportunity. Now, what does that look like? It's easier said than done. Okay, yeah, I'm going to inform someone, but how do we do that so that people aren't feeling recruited? They aren't getting that icky feeling, especially in a family setting. I don't know about you guys, but for me, it happens all the time. And I get this question asked a lot when we're meeting people and we're talking to people. It's like, oh, how are you? How are things going? What have you been up to? How's work been? What are you doing these days? These are common questions that everyone in the room always asks. And we're always fondling sometimes if we're talking about ACN and how to approach people. And then they're like, oh, they're trying to recruit me. And they walk away real quickly. Well, think about outside of ACN. Yes, M. Foster's dodging those bullets. He's like, I'm out. Peace. But think about before ACN, how we would talk about our lives, how we would talk about work, how we would talk about what is going on. So if anybody asked me that before ACN, I'm always a positive person. If you guys haven't got that yet, I'm telling you now, everything is positive. Do not bring drama, stress, anything to anybody you're talking to. They always ask me, how's everything going? And I say, great, fantastic, awesome. These are keywords, how I start out every conversation. Going great. I brought on a new tech with my locksmith company. He's handling all these lockouts. It's freed up a lot of my time. It's been so great. He's doing all these vehicle lockouts for me. Man, the other day, this poor woman, she locked her newborn baby in the car. It happens a lot and it's horrible. Moms are freaking out, but he was there within 15 minutes. I was just so thankful. She was thankful. It's just such a great feeling to be able to help someone out and have that good feeling that she went home happy. She didn't have to break a window, spend money she didn't have in replacing a window. So I was just thankful that she called me and I was able to help her out. Now that's what that conversation would have looked like before ACN. So I talked about what's new that's going on, just a couple sentences of what's new and what has happened. And it definitely triggers something in people to maybe ask more questions or maybe be like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And it strikes up a conversation. Well, after ACN, what does that look like? How are your conversations happening with people? Go back and replay it. If you have to, write it down. Play these conversations. If you brought up ACN at all, how many of you guys did and how many of you guys didn't? You don't have to raise your hands, but just think about it. How many people did you talk to about the business? Now, how simple can the conversation go? So after ACN, this is how a lot of my conversations go. What have you been up to? How are things been? What are you doing now? What's going on? So my conversations have been great. Fantastic. Awesome. Those positive words again. We just brought on this year a new service. I added a new service to my utility company. It's healthcare. I love it. You know, I've been flying around everywhere this year and my hips are unaligned and I've been in a lot of lower back pain and I was just recommended 36 chiropractic treatments. And you know what? This new service is covering a majority of that. I'm so thankful. I'm on a mission to go help anybody that's either flying a lot or sitting at a desk or just having just some joint issues with the chiropractic care. It's just so simple. And that's the mission that I'm on this year. So I'm stoked about it. Something simple, something new that I added, something just really brief that's happening and what's going on, an example, and it starts a conversation. And if it doesn't, that's okay. I always go back, well, what are you doing? What do you have going on? So I have some ammo and I have something to talk to them about too. Because again, the key word is genuine. You have to be genuine or people aren't going to want to talk to you anymore. They're going to do the Sam Foster dodge and get out of your way and say, oh my gosh, I got to go over there. I got to go talk to Aunt Susie. So be genuine in these conversations. But now this week, what we got to do this week is follow up on those conversations. Oh my goodness, Melissa, guess what? Remember I was talking to you about that healthcare service. And right now I'm really focused. I want to know, do you know anybody that I can help that's suffering from some back pain? Melissa be like, oh my gosh, you know what? My husband really does. And he needs to see a chiropractor, but he won't because it's so expensive and our insurance doesn't cover it. There is a lead right there. You don't ask them how they're doing. You don't ask them if they need the service. Just ask, hey, can you help me? I want to help other people that have the same issue with me as me. I want to help those that I can help that have the same issue as me. Then they aren't feeling recruited. Then they aren't feeling that you are talking to them or, oh man, I'm at my desk all freaking day and I have that lower back pain too. And you know what? My right leg is higher than the other. These random things are going to start coming up. It does. I'm telling you, because these are examples of stuff I've heard and what has happened in conversations. This is normal, you guys. So that is how we bring up ACN in a casual conversation. And once you ask them about other people, guess what? That's when we can talk to them like, hey, well, then you know what? You've referred me to this entire office where people are having issues. Now let's talk about how you can get paid on that. Let's talk about some commissions back. I definitely want to help you too, since you're sending me all this business. Let's talk about something. Get them on a call, get them introduced to the opportunity, but now you're genuine and you're not actively recruiting. They're not feeling like they're actively being recruited. And it's just a simple and better feeling, especially when you're around family, because I know a lot of people have that fear of bringing up ACN because all they want to talk about is recruiting. Don't be scared. Just as any business, that's what ACN is. Any business is at any business that you are ever in, talk about ACN the exact same way. So that is part of my reflection, period, of it. And we've talked about how we can change, how we can make differences. But I want to talk about now, one thing that I haven't yet is when we happen to bring other people. So staying committed, everybody on this call, who do we have? The day after Christmas, 47 people. Holy cow, that's awesome. 47 people the day after Christmas. So you say, Roxann, I'm committed. I did drop those seeds. I plan on following up. The only problem is I'm the only person committed in my business. How many of us have had that issue? At one point or another, absolutely. I know I have. It goes up and down. Sometimes I got people 100% in, and sometimes I don't. And what is it that causes people? I've known people in this business, not a part of my team. I haven't been in that long, but I've known people and met people that have been CQ'd for 17 years. All they do is they get customer qualified, and they're having issues talking to people, and they're scared to talk to people. And they asked me to present for them. This January will be 5 years. They've been in 17 years and asked me to present the opportunity for them. I think that is bonkers. But what causes someone to stay in ACN for that long? So that's what I want to talk about next, is getting someone committed. They're having issues doing the work, but they're committed. They're sold out to ACN. How does that happen? Because so many people come and go. So I have a quick video I want to show you before I get into that. Let me get to that real quickly.
Stop. Pay attention. Take a look at this crowded waiting room. These people may appear to be waiting for the eye doctor, but they're actually waiting for the first test subject in our hidden camera experiment. And here she is, right on time for her 12 o'clock appointment.
Hi, how are you doing?
This woman thinks she's here for a free eye exam.
Have you been here before? No, it's my first time.
What she doesn't know is that everyone else in this room is working for us.
They'll be with you in just a couple minutes.
Today we're running an experiment on social conformity, and the test starts now. Did you hear that? These people sure did. It doesn't take long for our test subject to notice a pattern. Beep means stand up. But why? And if you were in her shoes, what would you do the next time the tone sounds? While you might think you make your decisions all on your own, when it comes to peer pressure, all too often, your brain is just following the crowd. It's all around you, every day, an invisible force you're probably not even aware of. It affects what you do, how you think, and who you are. It's called social conformity, or peer pressure. And while it might not sound like a good thing, it's actually not so bad. The truth is, your brain craves synchronicity and takes comfort in the ease and efficiency of just going with the flow. And whether it's simply knowing what to wear in the morning, supporting your team at the big game, or even marching off to war, we're all programmed to be part of the group. And that's because your brain knows that there's power in numbers. We set up a hidden camera experiment to see if this woman would stand up at the sound of this tone, simply because everyone else is. You might be thinking you'd never go along with this. Or would you? After just 3 beeps, and without knowing why she's doing it, this woman is now conforming perfectly to the group. But what happens if we take the group away?
Elaine, please.
Okay, now she's alone. The crowd is gone and nobody is watching her, except our hidden cameras. What do you think she'll do? She's now conforming to the rules of the group without them even being there. Now, watch what happens when we introduce another outsider who doesn't know the rules.
For a noon appointment.
Have a seat and they'll be out in just a couple minutes.
Great,
thanks so much.
Why are you staying?
Everybody was doing it, so I thought I was supposed to.
Think she'll teach the new guy what to do? We kept the cameras rolling as more unsuspecting patients arrived. And slowly but surely, what began as a random rule for this woman has now become the social norm for everyone in this waiting room. Here to explain what's going on in their brains is Jonah Berger of the University of Pennsylvania.
This sort of internalized form of herd behavior is part of what we call social learning. Starting at a very early age, when we see members of our group perform a task, our brains literally reward us for following in their footsteps.
When I saw everybody stand up, I felt like I needed to join them. Otherwise, I'm like excluded. Once I decided to go with it, then I felt much more comfortable.
Conformity is how we become socialized, but it can also cause us to develop bad habits or repeat past wrongs.
And it's why even this rebel, who wasn't standing for any of this nonsense, eventually joined the ranks. And the only thing more shocking than seeing how easily conformity affects the way you act is that similar forces are subconsciously shaping the way you think right now.
I love that stinking video. The reason why, so he called it, what did he say? Social conformity or peer pressure. I call it is just being part of a community. There's so many things that people, and I've talked about it so many times, they want to be a part of a community. So what we're doing when we're bringing new reps in to our community, we have to bring them into a positive environment. Just like he mentioned, it could be bad influences or it could be good influences. And it took her just three beats, and then she jumped in. So now we start doing these with these new reps. We start qualifying people, one person after another person after another person. What happens if after they're hearing three people get qualified, you have a rep call you and say, you know what, I need to get qualified. How do I do this today? How many of us are going to be super excited about that? But the only problem is sometimes we don't plug them into the system. If you're not plugging them into the system, they don't see those people standing up around them. And guess what? They're not going to join in. They're not going to be a part of the same community. So we have to plug them into the system, whether it's on Zoom and we're congratulating people, or they're like, man, Mr. Thomas is asking for results. I want to be on that chat saying, hey, I had a lead. Hey, I had a recruit. Hey, I had someone qualified. It's being part of that community just after 3 weeks. And the reason she gave, the guy asked him, the new rep, asked her, how come you're standing up? She said, because everyone else is doing it. It's the same thing. How come you got qualified so fast? Because everyone else was. They were qualified within their first 72 hours. So I guess I have to be qualified within the next 72 hours. Social conformity is the same thing as wanting to be a part of that community. We have to make it a positive community. And sometimes we do have those bad apples. You had that guy that said, I'm not standing up. I'm not doing anything. I'm too tired. I had a long day at work. I'm just here to get my eyes checked. We have those people, but as stuff keeps continuing to happen, as people continue to stand up, he stood up, he joined. Those people will conform as well to be a part of the community. It's something that happens, and what they said, it's just neurologically programmed in our brains, but that happens outside of also doing the work. What about these events? So how do we plug in? We talk about this. We talk about just get on calls, get on three-way calls. Douglas Soto has he has seats at the soccer game, and it's something everyone knows out here in San Antonio. If you want to be on Douglas's team, you got to go to a soccer game with him. So that's something that people want to do. They want to go to the soccer game. They want these ACN seats. They are Douglas's ACN seats to these soccer games for our local group. It can happen anywhere. As we're talking about attending these live events, I have noticed after COVID, there has been a switch with newer people not dressing appropriately. They are in jeans, they are in tennies, they're in t-shirts, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening? But I'm still dressed to the T. I still wear dresses and heels, and other people that I know before COVID that were part of ACN still do the same thing. And as long as we continue to do that, I've noticed over time since COVID, people are starting to dress up more and more. Why? Because they want to conform, because they want to be a part of the same community. They don't want to stand out. That happens in our entire ACN business. So it's on us to be that positive influence on them. We can't go out and say, hey, what are you doing this Saturday night? Let's go out drinking, or Friday night before the event tomorrow. That is a bad influence, and they're going to join you. And guess what? You just tainted your new rep. It is our job to make sure we create that great community, because guess what? No matter what, as long as you create that great community with everybody surrounding you, people are going to stand up, people are going to join the club, and people are going to do what they're supposed to be doing because other people are doing it as well. So let's get out there, you guys. This is our last week of 2022. 2023 is about to start, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready. I'm ready to kick it off with fire. Thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. I appreciate you. Everything you've allowed me to do this year has just been a blessing. I appreciate you so much.